Welcome to the RSP Film Room. I'm Matt Waldman with the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. It's time to take a look at Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama's quarterback. We're going to do this in depth. Now that he's declared, this is the time of year where really you're going to see a lot of scrutiny. And this is the case with every top prospect every year. They burst onto the scene, they're declared a savior of football, and then they're picked apart. Some of the reasons are justified. Sometimes it's over-analysis. Sometimes it's just sheer bias, for crazy reasons, or media-driven narratives for entertainment value. Well, what we're going to do here at the Rookie Scouting Portfolio, we're going to look at 4 games. We're going to look at them against Oklahoma last year, Ole Miss this year, South Carolina this year, and the LSU game. And I'm going to show you things that he does really well as things that may be questionable about his game, in addition to items that he really does need to work on to become the type of pro that he's capable of becoming. So let's get started. The first thing worth noting, let's just start with the feet, because the feet really are the window into what a quarterback processes with his mind. How he executes in terms of the precision of his footwork, the spacing, the quickness, all are a reflection of how fast he processes the game. And you can see little ticks and tendencies about that player's personality often in their feet. Here, right off the bat, you're going to see this is a quick hitting play. It's going to be basically a read with a one-step setup and fire on the slant to Smith for a long gain, or to open up this Orange Bowl. But you can see here, it's a thorough play action, good extension. See how wide the feet are? Watch how nice of a job he does of shortening that stride. It's a little longer than shoulder length, but still manageable for him to fire that ball with a very quick, efficient motion that's pinpoint to Devonta Smith on this particular play. So for me, looking at this right off the bat, you can tell, look, he can be efficient. He can get rid of the ball fast. He's precise with his footwork. And you're going to see that more in future clips with a variety of drops. But being able to do it off of this, this read look, the zone read right here, and then just come out and fire that ball into a nice tight space. Good first impression if you've never seen him before. And I'm sure most of you have. You're going to see another short drop, but this is a 3-step drop, and you're going to see him throw basically the swing pass out to the flat to his running back, Harris. And again, look at how quick the feet are. He just sticks that landing, no hesitation, no, make-up steps here. Literally just sticks it and fires it. Gets it over the defender. Easy pitch and catch. Gives Harris a chance to get the first down. Easy yards right there. Now I like the patience with this zone window right here. Let's look at it one more time. Drops back, looking to his left, looking to that flat, holding the defenders here, getting the inside defenders to kind of look at maybe should we go over the flat and pursue Najee Harris. Be on guard for that. Late turn to the middle, sees the receiver in his stem right here. Takes one hitch, fires that ball right past the official. In stride, good target between 2 defenders. Love the patience with that window to let it open up. The feet are a little impatient. You can see a little bit of, how he moves his feet. There's a little bit of impatience right there, but you understand that the rest of it's pretty darn calm. And I think that overall he's calm on this play and is able to deliver a nice, tight, middle-of-the-field throw. One of the recurring themes in Tagovailoa's game is opposite hash accuracy, his ability to deliver opposite hash. And a lot of it starts, again, with the quick feet, the ability to look off or hold the defense and then come back to the target that's going to break open. And you can see that all happen on this play here. You have this trip side set where you're going to see Tagovailoa really hit that drop. 3 quick steps, really just, I mean, no makeup steps here, really sharp, and he's looking downfield. He's looking deeper, holding the safety deep, and then he hitches, opens up his frame late, and throws that late out to Irv Smith. And he opens up, and you can see, look at the mid-step of this back foot. See how it's pointed towards that flat? Even though the toes pointed a little bit more at a more of an inside angle, it's that back foot. The midline of the back foot really drives a lot of that accuracy in terms of placement. And he places this ball perfectly for Smith to be able to get the first down. And let's see if we'll look at it from the end zone view here. But again, note the feet. Nice little play fake. I mean, he extends the arm out there. You're going to see a variety with his play fakes that are good. You see him hold this safety. See how he's focused inside on that safety as he begins his drop. He doesn't open his body all the way up to the outside yet. So this is good manipulation. He sticks the landing there. Even at the end of that landing of the 3-step drop, he's still holding the safety here. That's good. He's not leaving it too early. And then he even takes a little bit of a hitch step and hop, looking at that safety before he turns to that outside look to number 82 here. It's really good. And, you know, you really want, when you're executing a design play, you want to be able to hold that safety as long as possible. So that little hop right there, for him to still be looking at the defender after that hop and only beginning to turn to the outside now, that extra bit beat is very helpful in being able to help him set up this outside throw. Opposite hash throw. Listen, when you can throw opposite field, gives you time to set slower developing plays. You can use the play action game to your advantage. Look downfield a little bit more to the left or the middle, and then turn back to your right. Throw backside, throw that over route in stride. Nice big play to the tight end there. I mean, you know, there's a lot you can do with him because of the play action, because of the movement to his left, because of the fact that he throws well to his right and he can throw opposite field. You can stretch vertically and horizontally and do it with the run game as a helpful aid or starting point in terms of play action. All right, here's another opposite field throw, and we're going to see him work here basically off a short drop and just put air under the ball, and Jerry Jeudy makes the play here between the trailing corner and the safety coming over the top. It's not a pinpoint throw. Okay, now he normally makes a lot of pinpoint throws in this range of the field, but I like the job that he does of looking short to the outside right here, finishing up looking deeper. So he goes short to deep on this particular play, or at least sets the defense to think short to deep, finishes that drop, hitches and fires. Good job here. And this is accurate enough to catch. But the fact that the receiver has to turn back and to the ball a little bit more to the inside than you'd like to see and invite some of that contact from number 20, even though 20 misses it. And doesn't really get a square hit to the chest there. The fact that he kind of has to slow down a bit and turn just enough. It's the type of play that's the difference between pinpoint and catchable accuracy. This is good catchable accuracy. We're going to see more cases of pinpoint accuracy in a bit. There may be no better opposite field thrower in the deep game in this draft than Tagovailoa. Look at him just drop that right in there to Jerry Jeudy. When look at the opposite hash throw here. We're talking from the 45. So he catches, you know, how far are we looking here? So nearly a 40-yard throw right here, opposite field. Good job holding the defense to the right side before coming back quickly. See how he looks off this safety right here? Safety's not looking at him, but he's staring to that side of the field, maybe even further inside here. And then makes that late turn, and it's all in sync with his feet. He's able to drive that and put some air, well, not drive it, but put some air under it. Nice over-the-shoulder delivery. Excellent placement. Now, if you let Tagovailoa throw with his legs under him, especially opposite field, I mean, look at that. That's perfect. You can't get much better than that. He can do this in the short, intermediate, and deep ranges of the field, and he really stretches the field horizontally with quick drops and throws that can cover the width and breadth, the width and length of the field. And he can do it off 2-step drops, 3-step drops, 5-step drops. Open up late and throw. This is one of the biggest strengths of his game because you can do so much in terms of how you spread the field out, who you target, no matter where you are in terms of where the ball's placed, and force the defense to account for every inch of the field and in a quick fashion. So you've got to get pressure on him. When you pressure him, you disrupt him. You can see design rolls aren't an issue. Moving to his throwing arm side to the left, easy, right on target, big play. Rolling to his left, that natural side to his throwing arm, he's pretty accurate when he flushes to his left and throws on the move here. I like the placement that he gives to Devonta Smith on this particular play. Smith settles in underneath the zone here. Tagovailoa is able to throw in a platform type of fashion on the move as if he's rolling out, even though he basically flushed to his left. And look at that throw. It's a little behind Smith, but it's leading Smith to the inside as opposed to the outside, which is a smart play. It allows Smith to be able to turn back inside and nearly get the first down, if not get it. Decisive play, opposite field, 4th and 2. Love this play. Quick drop. Places it only where Judy can make the catch. I mean, we can talk about deep opposite field throws, but in the red zone, still, you want to be decisive and pinpoint, and there he is. Clutch play. I mean, this was very needed, and he hits it. That's what you want to see. Another great example of him moving to the left and doing it well. Drops back, looks to the outside flat there, to the left flat. Climbs to his left, kind of rolls to his left, and throws back across his body and leads that defender or that receiver inside. This is a really nice play. I mean, this is a nice throw, quick decision in the red zone. Gets the touchdown. That's what you want to see, is quick, efficient, read through multiple looks, and hit the man settling inside. But he looks to that outside, gives the defense a potential look to Najee Harris, number 22, and then climbs, forces them to account for him moving upfield, and then gives enough room for that inside break, hits the man, across his body, working to his left. Love it. Tagovailoa is willing to take a hit. That's one thing that you know. Even in the quick game here with 18 bearing down here, does a good job being able to deliver that ball to Smith. It's a little bit inside here, but with pressure coming, I mean, it's accurate enough, and it produces a big play. But watch him kind of turn to protect himself. You get kind of that Jimmy Garoppolo turn and throw, quick release type of thing, but kind of turn the body away in the middle of the release. And sometimes that works out really well. It can sometimes be hit or miss and be a problem for inaccurate passes. And I think that Tagovailoa has a little bit of that Garoppolo type thing in his game where he sometimes feels pressure that isn't quite there, or anticipates it too early, or makes adjustments early in a way where you don't blame him for trying to protect himself, but sometimes it can come at the cost of a good play. This time, turned out fine. Again, quick feet once again, even with pressure coming. 3 steps, get the ball out. There's his man working across here on the slant. Not perfect placement, again, a little bit to the back shoulder as opposed to the front, but it gets the job done. And the fact that he can get rid of the ball so quickly and his feet are so precise and clean helps him out. Now, again, because he's going as quick as he does, it does sacrifice a little bit of accuracy in this stage. And you can see, watch how he throws that ball, that he swings his hips around again. It's again about, like Garoppolo, trying to protect himself a little bit. The defender's coming from that outside, and he's trying to turn his body away, even though the defender's far enough away. even though this defender's far enough away. He feels that pressure. You can tell he does. He's going to hang in there and take a hit. I'm not saying he's a coward or anything crazy like that. He'll take his shots. He just opts to protect himself very quickly, and sometimes at the cost of pinpoint accuracy. See it one more time here. He looks to that right, and he feels the flash of the white jerseys here, because watch him just turn that body all the way around there like that. That's not some sort of release technique that you used on slant plays or something crazy like that. It's just him basically saying, I don't want to get hit. Let me turn my back away or get away as quick as possible. And it does sacrifice accuracy, because look at that. It's to the back shoulder instead of the front shoulder. The defender's, well behind. But in the pros, this is going to be a more contested play if this is the placement that he's going to deliver. Ask Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been through this in 2019 all year with throws to Odell Beckham Jr., where he's not been pinpoint. He's been close, but not enough, and tight coverage has been able to mitigate or eliminate some of these, these targets and prevent them from becoming catches. Great example of feet under him, feels pressure, climbs a couple of steps there, gets rid of that ball in stride, in rhythm, hits back shoulder once again, but he's wide open here. Not a problem. But again, it's still something to watch when you start looking at when the coverage is tighter and he's throwing to that back shoulder as opposed to leading the man forward on routes breaking inside or across the field. And that may be a problem for him on certain types of targets if that continues. But you can see he keeps the ball down in this situation because, again, he can move within the rhythm of the play. And for those of you wondering, when I talk about Tagovailoa being a little bit behind on slants and in breaking routes, I'm not talking about plays or circumstances like these where he throws the ball purposely behind the receiver because he has a defender coming from the inside over top that if he leads him too far, he could lean him a little bit too ahead into that oncoming defender. He wants to give Smith a chance to protect himself a little bit on this particular play. And I like that. That's good placement. There are other situations we'll show and that we have shown that are different than that. Now we're going to see more plays as we progress where he goes through 1, 2, and 3 reads. A lot of the reads in this game where they're just blowing out Oklahoma, it's 1 read plays. But even so, there's some telling information here that I see from all 4 games that I'm showing you today and games that I've studied in the past. And that's that on routes that break inside, on dig routes, on slants, on post routes, there's a slight tendency, if he's not going to be accurate, he's going to be a little behind, that he's going to be into the body, in towards the back shoulder, the back hip. And now the coverage here isn't tight enough to really make an impact on this, but in the NFL where you're going to see more tight trail, or you're going to see a tighter man closing a little bit faster over the top, he's going to be able to reach in and knock out these balls or be able to make a play on them in a way that's makes the catch more difficult for the receiver because the ball isn't quite pinpoint. You want to have him leading inside a little bit more. Even though the safety's here, there's enough room that if he leads number 82, Irv Smith, a little bit more, Smith can catch and turn upfield and split these safeties for the touchdown. Instead, he has to hang back a little bit more, catch that ball in his body, and then turn back upfield. And it doesn't really give him an efficient option to be able to be a runner after the catch. And more importantly, when the coverage is tighter, it projects to be a contested throw that could wind up being a drop or a defended pass. So it's something that you're going to also see as another underlying theme to Tua's game is that when he's accurate, he tends to be inaccurate on slant routes and in breaking routes, a little bit too far in the body or behind. This is a good college play. This could also be a good NFL play, just maybe not as frequently. You're going to see this slant, 1st and 10, pressure arrives up the B gap, throws off his back foot once again. hits the slant. See where he hits the slant? Back hip. See how far the defender is from this receiver? In the NFL, it might be right on top of it and knocked it away, and this is not a big play. But here, Devonta Smith, huge play. You know, it's a terrific play for the college game. It's a nice catch. I mean, the catch is great. It's a good throw. I'm gonna love the play if you're framing it totally towards Saturdays. On Sundays, this sometimes works, but if you hit that back hip against a slant, normally you're going to see a lot of NFL corners knock that ball away, undercut it, maybe intercept it. And it goes the other way as opposed to how it did here. That's why you project for the NFL game a little differently than what you see in the college game. This is a positive result, and you're going to see that here, but we can even talk about things that he might be able to get a little better at, or maybe some tendencies that we need to look into a little bit more. And this play is a good example of it because it's going to be a touchdown. He's going to throw this, corner route here, and you see Devonta Smith kind of take a flatter angle after the break as he tracks the ball to get to the back of the end zone to make the catch. It's a beautiful play. But when you watch Tagovailoa, you're going to see here he sticks that drop very well and steps through. But as he feels the pressure at his feet, watch him kind of, as he's finishing up that release, he kind of leaves his feet to avoid getting hit. And you understand that. You want to avoid getting injured. You don't want your feet planted while someone's going for your lower legs. That can really mess up your knees. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks have, miss a year and really a year and change because of plays like this. But at the same time, you're going to notice that under pressure, when he has bodies near him, not even when they're coming low, that he tends to be a jump passer and go off platform at the end of his throws, and it alters the accuracy just enough. There's more room to this pylon. You really want to aim to the pylon, but because he had to change his footing as he delivers that ball, the ball kind of goes a little bit more to the inside rather than to the outside here, and it forces a really nice adjustment from Smith, but one that you'd really rather see him be able to run under this ball and break to the boundary as he had intended. So it stems from the fact that the pressure's low and he's going to have to, he makes a little bit of a jump turn as he's finishing that release. This one's justified, but there are going to be some that are less justified. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of a preview or put you on alert to that as we go through the rest of his tape. All right, here's that little Garoppolo kind of turn once again where he's rolling on a sprint out to the right. And he just doesn't get enough on the ball to lead Judy here because he feels that pressure coming in. I mean, right here, follow through on the throw. He's going to take the hit, but instead he just kind of turns away through that throw and just flicks it. And there's more emphasis, it seems to me, on the turn after he flicks it than actually the throw itself. And as a result, the ball's shy of target. I mean, this is short, very nearly intercepted. This is a close game. I mean, these are the types of plays that lose NFL games, especially in the red zone like this. And it's just also not accounting for the fact that there's going to be a possible man in the area because both men are playing off. So you have to account for, if they're both playing off, that one may be able to drop as soon as he tells what Tagovailoa is doing here. And he's able to back up about right here. He backs up right about here as Tagovailoa begins his release and nearly makes a play on that ball. Look at him get one hand on it. Tagovailoa has to be more thorough, even with pressure on him, to make sure that if he's going to throw it, really throw it. Don't just flick it and protect yourself. He's even backing away there. I mean, again, it's not an act of cowardice. He's willing to take a hit. He's just he has a bigger desire to protect himself than to make the perfect throw. Another iffy, immature situation here. And this is, again, where you throw off your back foot or abbreviate the throw with pressure. You know you're throwing to a slant. You know there's a defender over top. There may be another one inside here. And there is. You can't lead him too far here, especially when you got guys like Grant Delpit. But I mean, you trying to make that throw inside your own red area, 1st and 15, that's risky. That's the thing. He's trying to do too much here. Very common with top end quarterbacks. But see how high that is? When he has to be moved off his spot or he can't really follow through, he's going to be high. That's normal to an extent, but the decision making to go inside here in the middle of the field with 2 defenders over top, got to be better, got to be wiser, because a tougher league is going to create tougher circumstances for him when he tries that mess. You also don't want to be a little bit behind receivers on these types of routes in these situations where you don't open up all the way. You may fire this ball and it's a little bit behind. It's caught. That's fine. But that's one that can get undercut. He's got to be careful there. This whole awareness of the pressure and protecting himself, I mean, there's a good part to it when you could complete passes, and you can see it here. But it's just another part of it. You can see that he just flicks that ball and doesn't follow all the way through. He knows he has his back to the pressure, and he feels it coming, and he just kind of flicks that ball almost like a little hook shot on the slant here so that he can get hit in the back rather than turning into the oncoming defender with the throw. It's just a truncated throw, and that's good because it's accurate and it protects himself. That's great. But it's also part of the pattern of, again, protecting himself first, getting a good throw out second. And I don't know, it's hard for me to say that's a bad thing necessarily, but if it's going to cost him opportunities to make plays and win games, that's when you start to worry. And I think that there are points where you wonder about that. But when his feet aren't patient, moved off his spot, here we go. 3-step drop, looks to his left, looks short, deep. Maybe not in that order, but he looks both of those guys. And then he kind of runs rather than climbs, throws that ball high and away from number 17, Waddle. He had him, but rather than climbing and just hitching forward with his feet under him, he feels the need to kind of run up there. And he actually rushes the potential for him to get hit by the defensive lineman by running up into number, I don't know who that is. It looks like it's 65 maybe, or 62. Kind of runs up into him. If he hitches, he has a little bit more control, slower pace. He can develop he can actually have his feet under him a little faster. Because all he needed was really right there, that one step. But he takes too many steps forward. Throwing on the move like that, his momentum's moving forward, not as much control, not as accurate. When he has to move to his left or his right or off his spot in some way that's not by design, he tends to be inaccurate when after he resets. By design here, what he's doing is looking to his right, looking to the middle now to try and throw to the middle. Doesn't see anything, and now he has to hitch a step. And now that he hitches a step, now he has to throw to his left. And when he does that, he doesn't quite get his feet set where he needs to, and the ball ends up high and wide of target. And you can even see with the way that he moves, it's not as confident as it is at the beginning. And a lot of it is that he feels that interior pressure. Because right here, everything's very smooth, kind of flowing, fluid. And then when he has to hitch and he feels the pressure compressing the pocket in the same in the direction that he's heading towards, you can see he kind of has to adjust his stride a little bit. And it's just not as smooth. It's a little choppier. It's a little more, I don't know if I'd call it anxious, but it's a little bit more frenetic. And the ball's high and wide. This is a pattern that we're going to see with him. This is where Tua's pocket play suffers, okay? Is when he has pressure and he has to climb the pocket and he runs and throws on the run moving forward. He does this a little too often. This is a situation right here where he's got a clean pocket. He has edge defenders on either side getting high up. He just needs to gather his feet. Now, the defender redirects here. So I guess I get that on this particular situation. So at this point, if he's able to hitch a little bit earlier, maybe he's got a shot. But right here, running and throwing, off target, a little bit behind the receiver number 88. I don't think he's hit while making that throw. He actually makes that throw before it's hit, but he has to rush it. And rushing it in this traffic, in this tight window here, with a safety behind, and then a defender to the inside here, yeah, that's dangerous. And that's something that he's going to have to watch for, is that if he has room and he can climb with gathered steps, do so. If he has to throw on the run and it's in a tight area, he's going to have to know himself a little better and understand that his accuracy isn't quite good enough on the move like this to throw this type of pass consistently. He might want to throw it away. All right, here's another example of him where the accuracy isn't quite there due to pressure. You're going to see pressure get a push to this left side of the pocket, finishes his drop, feels that pressure closing in, and he comes off the middle receiver here, working that cross. And now he throws off his back foot, a little bit of a jump pass, too high to the receiver working back, Devonta Smith. It's like, keep it down, my man, keep it down. But it's tough for him to do when he's throwing off his back foot, leaning away from pressure. But it's one of those things that he has to do a better job of. He's going to keep that ball down. He's going to have to figure out a way to just slide a step instead of throw off the back foot. He could have slid a step, reset, and probably fired this ball. And the point of where he would realize that, I think, is right about here, where he could have slid instead of leaned back. If he slid a step, reset, fired, now the ball's about, 5 yards behind of where the receiver caught it, in terms of where it's placed. The receiver probably runs back a little bit more, reaches about the 30 when he catches this, as opposed to being between the 30 and 35. Here's another off-platform throw that's a little bit behind the wing back here, this H-back. Drops back looking to his right, doesn't like what he sees there. And then he's gonna kind of slide to his left, throw this ball, finishes it up, takes a little bit of a nudge just after he throws it, but the ball's behind the receiver. Tangles him up a little bit, he falls to the ground. Costs the receiver yards with the placement of this pass. But you can even see, too, the way that he moves his feet. He's not trying to climb this pocket. It's too tight for him. He doesn't feel comfortable climbing. A guy like Tom Brady, who's a great example, Drew Brees, great example, several quarterbacks who are strong pocket quarterbacks would do a better job of keeping their feet under them to climb forward and maybe slide a little bit to the left so that they're away from this interior defender. And then they can throw with their feet under them and deliver an accurate ball instead of what he did here. That cost the receiver a first down. More examples of getting Tua off his spot. Force him to retreat or throw back foot. That little jump throw turn leads number 6 too far. Just over and over again on his tape, you see this. And it just tells you that, it's one of the things with him. He's not going to be a terrific player where he's going to make these throws backing up. He's not one of these off-platform, throwing gods. He's more of a guy that needs to have his feet under him. Tom Brady's not an off-platform throwing god, but he's a guy that he can climb, hitch, keep his feet under him, and make good plays. And that's what Tua does well, too. Tua's just a little more mobile than what Brady is. Maybe a whole lot more, but you get what I'm saying. Tagovailoa, when he can climb the pocket in rhythm, he can fire that ball downfield with accuracy. And that's exactly what he does here, hitting Jerry Jeudy. Good play fake, 3 steps, looks to his left, comes back to the middle. 1 hitch step, fires that ball from a fairly tight pocket. No pressure there, but, if he waits a beat longer, it could deteriorate fast. But he does a good job. Very smooth here. So as long as he can do this within the rhythm of the play, he's going to be accurate. When he has to throw off his back foot, when he has to slide to his left or his right, not so good. Even when he has his feet under him a little bit, it can be a little bit high. But he does a good job there of climbing 2 steps. And it's a little high for Judy, but overall, good job. You just know that he has a tendency to be a little high when he's not pinpoint accurate. All right, force him to throw off his back foot or not follow through. Here it comes. See that little jump Jimmy Garoppolo throw? Not trying to pick on Jimmy Garoppolo, but he does this. Garoppolo does this accurately a lot of the time. But when he feels that pressure, doesn't feel like he has a lot of space between himself and the middle of the pocket, he tends to kind of throw off that back foot and make that little hop to try and get over and protect himself. And he airs that ball just a little too high for Jerry Jeudy. This is by no means an accurate pass. It's just accurate enough to be caught. It's not pinpoint. But on this play, who cares? Because what you're really looking at here, not even just the pocket presence. Pocket presence is nice in the fact that things are rather tight. He's got a defender bearing down here, one coming from the right side, and he has to avoid basically 3 defenders to get this ball off, and he takes a hard hit from number 91. But the fact that he's opening to his left, turns back to climb up and go to his right, and he has the quickness to be able to shoot that ball out there with that quick release. He has very quick, compact release when he needs it. And he can find that man across the field. And yeah, Jeudy makes a heck of a catch. Nice low pluck there. But the fact that he can get even the ball in the neighborhood where he knows the only person who has a chance to catch it is Jeudy, man, you like this. This is nice. This is good pocket presence. This is good feel. And just a great quick release. That's what I would emphasize here, is that he can get that ball out quick and it can be compact. And if he can recognize situations where he can throw the ball like this and it doesn't have to be perfect, it really works to his advantage. When he tries to be too pinpoint in situations like this, that's where he can get into trouble. Here's another example of where it can get into trouble for him. You're going to see the pressure in his face. And again, look at him just kind of abbreviate that release. I mean, watch this. It's cool that he can do that. But again, it's a little bit behind and in. And it's the type of situation where you may not want to do that against tight man coverage, especially in the NFL where a defender might be a little bit more equipped to cut this ball off if it's not leading the man perfect. Overall, I'd say his pocket ability is decent, not great. He can make some plays against pressure here. I really like the job he does here of reducing the shoulder and kind of giving a little bit of a jab step to the outside, forcing the defender to open up a little bit more to the outside, then reduce inside, totally make a miss. That's great. And then slide out here and make the throw, finds that open man. Doesn't have to be pinpoint on that situation. He just found the open man in zone and finds him in that space. But that, really nice work there. But you can tell he's a little, he's a little bit more on the frenetic side at times when it comes to dealing with pressure. He's good at it, but I wouldn't necessarily say that he's great at it, because you don't see the pinpoint throws. You don't see him being able to make some of the creative plays where defenders are tightly covering his receivers when he has to do this. He's not Russell Wilson in that regard. But he can make things happen, and that's enough to help a team win right there in the NFL. Don't talk about this a lot, but I mean, when he feels pressure, I like that he can look downfield to his left, feel the pressure, come back to his right, know exactly where his check down is, and it ends up being a big gain. But again, I mean, you can see he's got 3 receivers working up the field here, sees that it's all pretty much well covered, finishes his drop, makes a hitch to look one more time to see if it develops, and then automatically turns, finds his man, leads him downfield. Efficient. That's what you want. That's exactly what you want. And look at the nice gain. As successful as Tagovailoa is, you see some missed opportunities here. Here's a play where he really should have had a touchdown, and it's a seam route to Josh Jacobs up the left flat that he misses here. Here's Jacobs right here. Here's the safety to the right. Safety's focused totally on Jerry Jeudy. And Jacobs is throwing to number 6 in a more contested situation, or at least a little bit of a shorter pass with a defender over top. You know, a little bit more contested. Jacobs doesn't have anybody here. And part of this, I would guess, and you know, I don't know for sure, but I would guess that this play is designed to kind of go out here immediately, and he's predetermined that this is where he's going to read first and throw, as opposed to looking at what happened pre-snap and recognizing the fact that he has basically one safety to the right side and basically outside the right tackle here. So he's wide enough away that as long as this linebacker or either of these two linebackers don't drop, or this man isn't covering the outside linebacker here, it looks like it's an outside linebacker. I mean, right here, he's actually looking, as you can see, looking in this middle area. He should see this gap. He should if he sees this gap, he should also, but see, then he kind of turns and averts his eyes a little bit more towards this edge, where if he sees this gap right here, I would be watching that a little bit more, especially knowing pre-snap you have a one safety to that right side. But when he comes off of this, he doesn't see Jacobs, and you see, you know, the commentators point that out as well, and he ends up totally going to that left side. So he's going to have to improve his pre-snap, post-snap reads a little bit and not predetermine things as much, even in this kind of quick passing game that they have at Alabama at times. All right, we have a Tagovailoa interception here. And you see Jordan Phillips here, the linebacker. He's going to drop back and undercut this throw intended for Devonta Smith to get the interception on the play. Now, what's happening here is you're going to see, at least to this left side, there's a lot of zone being played. They're basically, you know, you got the outside man playing a little bit of zone here and just kind of waiting, hanging. You have a linebacker here who's covering this flat with Jeudy working across. You have this open receiver here who's also working to that flat. I would imagine the linebacker has some responsibility for that as well. And Tua throws that ball thinking that, you know, Smith, who's working up the field and breaking inside, is going to be open here, and that number 8's going to be nowhere to be found. I think what Tua is expecting is that number 8 is either going to cover number 4 across the middle of the field, and that this linebacker is going to be covering the flat, and as a result, it's going to leave open a lot of space behind it when this receiver breaks inside. Or he thinks that number 8 is going to be helping out with the right hash player here, this receiver working up the right hash, and it's still going to leave this left hash open. But you see Phillips playing the eyes of the quarterback. You know, once he sees that Tua is basically staring down this route, he goes over there. And would you say he's staring it down the entire time? No, because he looks to his right. He starts off to his right, comes back to the left, but then really that's all that was needed for number 8 to be able to drop back into that range. So Tua probably has to be a little bit more cognizant about how he manipulates this, as well as who's going to be in the area and what this coverage is. You know, and understanding what Phillips might be able to do pre-snap based on the look. See, he doesn't see anybody back here in this gap. So he thinks with the safety dropping back here, he's safe. But I think he anticipated a different type of coverage to the inside here, and that's what the results in him missing number 8. Here's a sack on Tua, and it's a play that I actually like from Tua. It shows some promise, if you ask me. Even though the outcome's bad, there's some good things about the process. Play fake, feels that interior pressure. I believe that's Kinlaw, if I remember correctly. And you can see here what he does, instead of rolling outside and breaking contain, which a lot of young quarterbacks do. They'll roll outside their tackles and then give these defenders an opportunity to really make a play, and it just creates a lot of chaos for himself. Baker Mayfield does this a ton. Instead, what you see Tagovailoa do is he climbs back inside his tackle and guard. Now, he gets sacked on the play. But what I like is, again, there's a tendency, and I see this repeatedly with him, that he doesn't necessarily just try and break it outside. He'll take a couple of steps, see if he can climb, and who he's looking towards, number 6 here. Devonta Smith, I believe that's number 6, who's angling across to the opposite flat. And he's looking to that to be able to get his feet under him to be able to make the throw. He just doesn't have enough time, doesn't buy enough space to be able to do it. And he ends up taking the sack. But the idea is good. He knows where he wants to go. He knows how he needs to try and set it up so he can get protection. Just doesn't quite happen. The defender makes a really good play tracking him down. Here's another example of Tua wanting to stay in the pocket. You know, he feels the pressure to that outside, slides to his left, feels that pressure inside. You see him want to climb. Does a good job there, but then nobody blocks this late charging defender, number 95, who basically comes off of his block and 70 left there waiting, and he gets hit. But I like the idea that he doesn't just try and break to the outside all the time. He tries to work within the confines of the pocket and create space that way. It doesn't work out here either, but again, good stuff. Now, there's some people that say that he may take too much time in the pocket. And here's a play where he takes a lot of time in the pocket, okay? But he's afforded that time. He looks to his left, doesn't like what he sees, comes back to his right side, doesn't like there, follows the receiver working from the right to the middle, fires it perfectly. So you see patience. You know, far left, right, middle, finds the open hole in the zone here. What do you want from the guy? He's got plenty of room and time right here. Stay with it. Now, here's where taking too much time can be a problem. When he's forced to roll and throw and nobody's open, he'll throw the ball away. But here's that point where when the pocket starts to feel compressed, his clock isn't quite right here where he's not feeling, it doesn't feel as compressed to him as maybe it is off that backside. And once he realizes he's in too much trouble, he can't get away. So I think for me, it's not so much that he takes too much time in the pocket. It's maybe more of a subtler thing that he doesn't always feel where the pressure in the pocket's coming from in certain situations, and he can get deceived by how much time he has left due to being deceived by how much space he really has left. So it's more about not feeling the space as much as not feeling the time. I would classify Tagovailoa as a chain mover when it comes to his ability to break the pocket and run. He's not going to give you huge plays, but he'll give you some first downs. And a lot of it is because he is nifty enough to slide and move in the pocket and then break to the outside just quick enough. Just needs to continue to learn to slide and continue to work on that as a part of his game here. Very skilled at being able to look to the right side of the field, from one sideline to the next, or work from one side to the other. He does this on this post route, holding to the right, hitching, throwing in rhythm from the 10, looking at nearly a 50-yard completion from the pitch point. Almost perfect throw. If you think Tua Tagovailoa is like a check down thrower or a short range thrower, you've missed some games, my friends, because, I mean, this is the second big play that he's hit where he looks to his right deep, comes back to the left, hits his man up the left hash. Beautiful throw. You can see he looked off to his right all the way. 41 yards, really about 43, 44 yards in stride. Here's an encore. Look at him begin the drop, looking to his right. There's the deep safety. Deep safety kind of backs and stays where he was. Quick turn to his left. Reads what he sees at the leverage there. Trusts his man. Lets that ball go from the 35. In stride. 32-yard play. Nice vertical throw. Now, some of you may wonder when I talk about pinpoint passes, Do I count off if it's not pinpoint in a situation like this where the receiver has to catch it kind of back shoulder like this when he has a good 3 yards on his defender? And I'd say the answer is no. I count this as pinpoint. And here's why. Because first you see Tagovailoa look off to the right, but on the left side here, you're going to see that separation. It's pretty clear separation right away. When he turns back to his left to see the receiver has a full step or two on the man. At this point, Tagovailoa knows if there's no safety help over the top and he can just throw this ball enough to get it there without the receiver having to wait on it, it doesn't have to be perfect. And sometimes perfect can ruin the opportunity to be good. And this is one of those situations where it's good enough. And that's what you want to do, is you don't want to get too nifty with it. It's as close to pinpoint as you can get without being so. It just needs to be at the front shoulder in terms of leading him downfield as opposed to, the back. And it's really very close to the numbers. But you can see what I'm saying, that even if, if the defender were tighter, tight early on when he decided to make that throw, and the defender remained tight to the receiver on that back shoulder, then it becomes a more worrisome play where you say it's catchable accuracy, but it's not necessarily pinpoint accuracy. Here's another nice deep shot by Tua, and it's one that Jerry Jeudy should have caught. I mean, look at that, right on the hands at the 6. Talking about 50-yard throw right there that just went right through the hands. This is just a little minor sidebar, but I've noticed in multiple games that Tagovailoa and his running back haven't been on the same page with exchanges. And you'll see here, Tagovailoa thinks that Josh Jacobs is going to work behind him and he's going to hand that ball behind him. And Jacobs works across Tagovailoa's face on this particular play. So is that the running back's fault? Is it the quarterback's fault? I mean, we could certainly dig into what this play looks like here. I mean, it looks more like a stretch play to me, where you would hand it to Jacobs the way Jacobs is running here. But you could also see how it might be a situation where the starting point's going to be more towards that outside area. But again, it's almost like Tagovailoa forgets that Jacobs moved to this side instead of just handing it off to the right. So I think this is on Tagovailoa, who's still turning as if Jacobs is right here where the cursor is circling, as opposed to where Jacobs just shifted. Again, this can create some ball security problems. This can create some broken plays. So the communication needs to be on point. And I've noticed that Tagovailoa has done this repeatedly in multiple. One of the great things about Tua is that when it's designed movement, when his feet are under him, he knows what he's going to do movement-wise. He can do a lot to misdirect. Move to your right, with a designed little half roll, throw back to the left, sets his feet, back shoulder, perfect, and really great catch by Najee Harris here. But this is great, and this is the type of stuff that you can work with him where, the design footwork, the control, how smooth it is, as long as he knows what he's doing in advance to keep his feet under him, he's pinpoint accurate. You want to use him when it comes to this design movement, because look how he can open up from one side all the way over here, where he opens up towards downfield, then towards the outside, then turns back to the right and fires that screen. So you can run double screens with him, throwbacks with him, fake rolls or half rolls and throwbacks, all sorts of different things, and he's going to be accurate for you. Also have a nice pump fake here. You got the read there. Look at that full motion pump fake. Pretty good violence too, just kind of natural violence. I wouldn't call it emphasized violence in the way that, say, Ben Roethlisberger can really fire that ball and hang on to it all the way through. But that's not a light touch with the velocity there. So these are my thoughts on Tua Tagovailoa. Terrific opposite field thrower. Good deep range. Great deep accuracy. Very good over the middle. Someone that, as long as he keeps his feet under him, much like Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo, he can do damage for you. He can read the field, high to low, sideline to sideline. He can buy a little bit of time in the pocket for you. As long as he can do it in rhythm, he's going to be accurate. He can break the pocket and make some gains with his legs. There's some potential for there with him reading defenses that I think that is going to be a positive for him. He's just going to have to work on knowing, how much space he really has in the pocket to get rid of the ball a little bit earlier. Types of throws that he shouldn't try to make based on his weaknesses when he has to throw off his back foot or off platform. Try not to do too much, playing within himself. And if he can play within himself and you can let an offense use a lot of movement with play action and do a lot of diversifying of what they do, say with Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco or with Matt Ryan in some of his years, I think you can get a really dynamic player, really strong production out of Tua Tagovailoa as an NFL player as he develops. If you just ask him to kind of make plays on his own and be more of a Russell Wilson type or a Matt Stafford type, I think you're going to see him struggle a little bit more and have a higher mistake ratio, or a Jameis Winston type where maybe the run game isn't quite there as a support and it's not as integrated into the offense as you'd like to see. So that's my thought on Tua Tagovailoa. Hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe to the RSP Film Room for a lot more videos, short and long form, and check out my site, www.mattwaldmanrsp.com.